Welcome to the Coop Tank. I'm your host, Steve Cooper, coming to you from SuiteRecording in beautiful Mount Laurel, New Jersey. And I'm here with my producer, Joe. How you doing today, Joe?
Cool. I'm doing great, brother. How are you?
Good, good. I want to ask you a question because summertime's coming up, and New Jersey's known for its corn, and I love the white corn, and I get it. And sometimes when me and my wife, when we cook it, I just want to put it in the pot with water and steam it, but she puts butter on it. She puts it on the grill or in the oven. How do you eat your corn? I mean, what is there a correct way, or what's your take on it?
Wow. What a way to kick off the show. I love this corn question. So I like both methods. I think if you boil it, you kind of retain some of the moisture, which is great, but I think if you grill it, it's great, right? You get some of those like burnt bits on it, and it's amazing both ways. I think that if I had to choose, I would say boil it because it's always a safe bet, regardless of the season.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Now tell us a little more about SuiteRecording so that people can find out what you do over here.
Absolutely. So at SuiteRecording, we help brands and businesses to leverage the power of podcasting, YouTube, and video content to generate quality content for themselves and to amplify their message and to reach their audience in fun and unique ways. So we can help with everything from planning your podcast or your YouTube channel to recording, of course, and production and even publication. So if you're interested in learning more, you can contact us anytime at hello@suiterecording.com or visit us on the web at suiterecording.com. That's SUITE. Take it away, Coop.
We have a great show today. People, I met my one guest just a few weeks ago, but I've known the other few for a while. And our first guest from Vantage Financial is Erica Kirk. How are you doing, Erica?
Hi, Steve. How are you?
I'm doing well. And next from TD Bank, we have Rob Curley. What's up, Rob?
How you doing, Steve?
I'm doing well. And finally, from Telecorp Technologies, it's Mr. Tim Jennings. What's up, Tim?
What's up, brother?
Not much. So, Erica, tell us a little about what you do and tell us a little more about Vantage Financial.
Yes. So I work with Vantage Financial, and we specialize in equipment leasing. We focus on technology, but we can basically help any corporation purchase, their large equipment, whatever they need. I'm basically a bank. I loan you money to purchase all that stuff that on a daily basis that runs your business.
And how about you, Rob? Tell us a little about what you do for TD. I know you've been there for a long time, so tell us a little what you do.
Yes, I've been here a long time, but I'm the regional president for Pennsylvania, New Jersey. I oversee 252 retail stores across New Jersey and southeastern Pennsylvania. And then I also manage all commercial banking, whether it be middle market lending, small business, or what we call community lending. And then I also sit on the TD Charitable Foundation, which is the fun part of my job, where I get to give out money and grants to nonprofits and all the community organizations across South Jersey and Pennsylvania.
Okay. And Tim, tell us a little about Telecorp.
So Telecorp Technologies is a technology company. So we are an IT company mainly, and we also have a telecom arm. So anything that is involved in technology in your office, in your business, from your data room to your desktop, that's what we do.
All right. I got to tell you, what I like about doing this show is you hear different stories and you hear about how people got to where they are. And it always fascinates because everyone has different ways, they go through this, they go through that. But Rob, how did you end up where you are and in your position?
So I kind of got into banking because of failure. I started out as an architectural engineering student in college. That's what I wanted to be. I couldn't pass calculus or physics, so I switched to business. And then I started working for a real estate developer because I really wanted to be a real estate developer here in South Jersey. And back in 1989, the market tanked. And I accidentally got into banking and I started as a teller. I started the ground floor. I even changed light bulbs in some of our buildings back in the day to earn a couple extra bucks because tellers didn't make a lot of money. But I was fortunate to start at Commerce Bank, which was founded here in South Jersey, and I was I kind of got on the ground floor right before we really exploded, and had a lot of different jobs throughout the 90s. Learned a lot of different things, and because of that, I was able to elevate to the current position I'm in today.
Okay. How about you, Erica? I know you've had this is a newer job for you. Tell me how you got to Vantage.
Yes. Well, I actually met my new company through networking. So it's all about who you meet and who you know. But my background, I spent almost 25 years in hospitality. I worked from being a hostess to a general manager in different bars and restaurants. Spent about 15 years in Philadelphia, and then COVID hit. So restrictions were very hard in Philadelphia. I decided to move back to New Jersey, called one of my girlfriends and moved in with her. And her family owns Jersey Man Magazine, which has the Legacy Club networking group. So I just started helping them more often, doing their events with them. I work the registration table, so I meet every single person that comes through that door. And that's where I met my new boss. So he hired me. It was a long process. I didn't know anything about equipment leasing, anything about banking. Rob, no idea about banking. And Tim too, no idea about technology. So, but I did know people. So that was a good thing. And I just been learning everything ever since. I try to meet everyone I know. I try to learn as much as I can about both banking and technology. So it's funny that the three of us ended up on this today. But it really is. It's all about who you know and meeting new people and just putting yourself out there. So that's how I got hired at this job. And I actually really, really love it. I get to help people save money, and that's what I love to do.
Okay, and how about you, Tim? I know you were a drummer. You were a drummer back in the day. So how did you get into Telecorp? How'd you end up there?
I was a drummer back in the day. So yeah, we played all over Philly and all that kind of stuff when I was young. But kind of like Rob, I had to cut the mullet off and get to work. So I had a few different jobs, few different industries, kind of like Erica. And I just one day thought to myself, I don't want to do this for someone else anymore. I want to do it for myself. Strange turn of events. Then a friend of mine wanted to do the same thing. So we got together. We each scraped $1,000 off of a credit card to open a bank account at Commerce Bank, as a matter of fact. And, the rest is history. 26 years later, here I am.
That's awesome.
It's great. See, it's always great when you hear good stories. Now, I got to ask you something. We live in an age of social media, and, you go on LinkedIn, and people always will tell you how great they are. I read shit sometimes. I read it, and it's like 87 paragraphs. I get through the first one. They're saying how great they are, okay? And I think sometimes people fabricate a little bit. But I'm going to ask you guys to be honest. Erica, what's a characteristic or a trait that you like about yourself? And you can brag. I don't have a problem with people brag. I just don't like when people humble brag. But tell me about something about yourself that you think it helps you, and it's a characteristic that you really like.
Well, honestly, I think me liking to help people and meet new people. I'm very outgoing, and I love that about myself. I can be in a room with strangers and hold a conversation. But I'm also very empathetic. I'm very empathetic. So I'm really in tune with people's feelings, and I do what's best for my clients. And I think that helps me get new business. I don't like to, Rob, of all people, probably knows dealing with people's money is very scary. I don't ever want to do the wrong thing. So I try my best to do what I would do for my own friends and family. So.
Okay. How about you, Tim? What is a characteristic you like about yourself?
I like about myself? Absolutely nothing. I mean, I hate everything, No, I think that so I don't know, that I like. I'm pretty I guess I'm somewhat charismatic. I mean, I'm kind of out there. If I think it, I probably am going to say it. And, I'm a bit loud, as you guys all know. So I'm out there stomping my feet and pounding my fist and kind of telling it like it is, and I kind of follow that rule that, I do what I say and I say what I do. And I think that is the one thing that kind of gets me over the hump most of the time with most folks.
Okay. How about you, Rob?
Well, I like to think I'm humble, and I always try to tell myself, don't ever forget where I came from. I started as a teller. I'm now a regional president. I've had a lot of jobs in between, and every opportunity, every job I've ever had, I try to remember where I came from and what it's like to be a teller. So in my current job, I try to put myself in the teller's shoes and what they have to deal with every day. I try to put myself in our customers' shoes, and I think that's something I really strive to do each and every day.
you. So that's what you like about yourself. I'm going to stick with you, Rob. Now, what is something you feel you need to improve on? Because I need to, I like Tim. You're outspoken, as you said. I've cut my tongue a little bit because I'm very. If I walk into an event and I don't like someone, I don't want to talk to them. And I'm learning. I can't be a dick. You can't because you don't want to. No, you don't want to cause a scene, but that's something I'm working on. So I sit there and I tolerate someone. I'll give the shake and I'll say, "Oh, I have to go to the bathroom," and then I disappear. But what is something that you need to improve on, Rob?
Something I need to improve on is probably it's probably a good trait and a bad trait. I'm very open to talking to everybody and about anything, no matter where I'm at. But it puts tremendous pressure on my time and time management is something I'm probably not really good at. And in my job, where I have a lot of different things to do and a lot of priorities and responsibilities, I probably put a lot of extra stress on myself because of just the way I am. Like I'm very open to talking to anybody, whether in the bank, outside the bank. It's just who I am. I can't change it, but it does put stress on me that probably I don't need. So.
Okay, how about you, Tim? What is something that you need to improve on?
Well, improve on is a lot of things, obviously. I mean, nobody's perfect, right? So Rob said it right. Being humble is everything when you're in positions like us. So we're all professionals, and I think that if I had to improve on one thing, it would be networking. I'm not great at it, believe it or not. I mean, I like to talk to everybody. I love to have conversations like this. I love to get involved. And, when I do my interviews, you guys have been on my show. I love to have those conversations. But when I'm in a room full of people, sometimes I just can't stand it. I just don't like the crowd environment. So I will kind of go within and back into a corner, and hope that Coop doesn't walk up, shake my hand, and go to the bathroom. You know what I mean? So that's the truth. I mean, I'm just being honest. I love talking to people, but when I get in a big room with a lot of folks in it, I kind of shy away.
That's funny. Says the guy who, when I was at a Halloween event, he showed up dressed like Batman. So I'm just
a true story.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Tim's too hard on himself. That's
I'm an extroverted introvert. It's a fact.
Well, you know what? I think also, and because you're back from the background of performing, and a musician, and I've always said this. I think musicians were insecure and we're narcissistic, and you put it together and it's a weird combination because we want to be seen, but then we're like, I don't know. But I think I know what you're talking about, Tim, because I'm the same way. Erica, what is something you have to improve on yourself?
I think the same as the guys. It's almost, I need to be a little more vulnerable, I guess. Like, just like Tim said, I love to meet new people and I love the network, but sometimes it's the same thing. You're like, I don't want to talk to anybody today. You know what I mean? You network so much. Like even this week, I've probably been to 3 or 4 events, and tonight it's a Friday night and it's gorgeous out, and I'm gonna stay home. I'm gonna stay home by myself. But it's true. Like I'm the same way. I'm a very introverted extrovert. I love to talk to people and meet new people. But there's times where you're like, you feel like you have to be forced, and it's like it doesn't seem natural sometimes, and it's like, it can be exhausting at the same time as it's fun, but it's also very draining. But just putting myself out there and being more vulnerable and walking up to the strangers and being like, hi, what do you do? My name's Erica. It's pushing yourself. And like Tim said too, I don't think there's ever a time where you shouldn't stop improving yourself. There's always things I want to keep learning and keep doing. And I think there's a lot of things I need to improve myself on. Even recently, you probably can't tell, but I got braces. I've always hated my smile and I wanted to improve it. And I think it's never too late. So it's never too much time to, put into yourself sometimes. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. Now, that's good. I didn't know that. Well, congratulations. Braces are a big step, So here's a question I have, and it's going to be different answers. Erica, you'll answer this differently because Tim and Rob have been at their companies a long time. And Tim, you started off your company. You run it. You have 26 years. So at this point in your life, what motivates you? I mean, you've built a company, you have network, you have a network of people who work for you. What motivates you as you get older? What's something that motivates you? Tim.
Oh, I would say the same thing as day one. I'm still excited about the future, about what's going to happen with the company and how we're going to grow it, what the next thing is we're going to do, the next product we're going to sell, the next piece of software we're going to implement here, all that good stuff. It's always changing. Thanks to Rob, I have a new bank. and lots of new things there, but it's the growth. I mean, you're constantly thinking about what's next and what can I do next, what am I going to be able to do next, what I want to do next, just all that stuff. You're constantly winding and winding. My wife looks at me and says, you're thinking about something, aren't you? And I'm like, uh-huh. And it's 24/7. And if you're wired as an entrepreneur and a business owner, then that's how you think all the time. So that's it, man.
Okay, what about you, Rob? What still motivates you? You've rose up from a teller to where you are now. It's like, damn. I mean, after a while, you sit there, go, I'm just going to rest on my laurels and cruise a little bit. But no, I mean, what still motivates you?
Well, I think Erica just said it and Tim just said it. When you aren't constantly learning and you do rest on your laurels, you're probably going to end up failing. Contentment is the worst thing that can happen to anybody. So I drive myself because I feel like every day I could be fired. That's how I motivate myself. I drive myself really hard, but what I care most about is our customers. I love taking care of customers. I love learning about their businesses and how they grew their business, how they started their business. Every business story is different. I love our colleagues. I have a great team here at TD, and I care about every one of them, and they make me look good every day. And then I care about our community, and I think TD does very well at supporting something I like, which is giving back to the community. So those three things motivate me every day, but it's also that constant drive just to get better and learn new things.
It's funny. I do like what you do with the community. I went at Christmas. I went right on Route 70, the big Christmas tree lighting, and it was great. It was fun. There was hot chocolate. There was cookies. And
I remember that.
And I got an elf hat, but my head is so fat it wouldn't fit on me. So I'm trying to put it on. I'm like, damn it, it was a cool hat.
I'm going to send you a new elf hat, a bigger one,
for my big fat head. Erica, what about you? What motivates you? Because you're also newer in your job, and it's a whole new experience to you.
I am. And I think that's one of the things that motivates me is I love to learn new things. So even when I first started this job, I would make flashcards. My boss would be like, what are you doing? And being in a room with IT guys, everything's an acronym, even banking. There's so many different rates. There's a buy rate, a sell rate. And I'm like, what are all the rates? There's points and deals. I'm like, where do these points come from? So I just learning in general motivates me and my family, to tell you the truth. My dad was a very hard worker, and watching him grow up, it just puts some kind of drive in me. And I motivate myself a lot. Like you guys said, like I work out every day. I do as much as I can. And I'm probably my worst critic. So I kind of motivate myself because I put myself down the most, I guess. I'm always critiquing myself and I could do things better. So just trying to be better, and it just motivates me in general, and just being able to take care of myself, tell you the truth.
Okay, Rob, you had hit on about what motivates you sometimes is the fear of losing your job. But we all have fears at night. I mean, and Tim, you would know, as you're an entrepreneur, and Erica, you guys know. And Erica, coming from the restaurant business, you probably still have the dream when you're the waiter, and everyone keeps coming in. It's that waiter's nightmare dream.
Still do.
Everyone, and I've been waiting tables for her. I still get it. But is there any other fears when, like, do you wake up in the middle of the night worried, like, and how do you quell that? Like sometimes I'll wake up and go, oh man, I don't know if I'm going down the right path. And then I sit there and I figure it out. I don't worry. But Tim, do you ever wake up in the middle of the night, especially being a business owner, and go, holy shit, what if I wake up tomorrow and all my clients are gone? What do I do? Do you ever go through that? And then how do you combat that?
I do go through that. And I think anybody that's that owns a business, or anybody that's got a job, I don't care who you are, but everybody probably thinks that way every once in a while. It doesn't matter what you do. But I think this, and I was just on a different podcast, and I was asked a question just like this, and my answer is this: Steve, if tomorrow the bottom fell out from under everything you're doing, and you lost your job, you lost your house, you lost your car, and you lost all your money, could you get another job?
Yeah.
Do you have somebody who would take you in?
Now everyone hates me. No, yes.
Yeah. And what are you worried about?
Yeah, it's good. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, how about
So,
you,
I
Rob?
mean, I think you gotta have confidence and faith in yourself and in your family and your friends that no matter what happens, you're going to be all right. The sun's going to come up tomorrow, and you'll figure it out. And you have to put that in the back of your head, and you have to hold that in your heart, because that's what's going to get you to the next click if something goes that bad. Hopefully it never does, but you can't worry about those kind of things. If you do, then you'll never really accomplish anything. You'll just sit and worry about things. You gotta be focusing on the good stuff that's in the future.
Okay. How about you, Rob? Do you wake up with fears at all?
Yeah, pretty much every night. And I'm also 56 years old, so I wake up 3 times a night for other reasons. But I would say, I this is my personal opinion. I think when winners, whether in sports or business, leaders use fear as a motivator, like use it in a positive way. I use fear to energize myself, to push myself to the next level. But to Tim's point, you can't let it overwhelm you and worry you all the time, because that's not healthy either. So I use fear of things that I'm uncomfortable with to motivate myself to really push me to the next level. But then at the same time, I worry about what I can control. I don't worry about things I can't control. And I think with that balance is important in order to keep yourself sane and healthy. So
It's funny. It's funny you say that with fear, because sometimes you turn the anxiousness into energy. Like when I perform, before I go on stage, I'm going, "Oh man, this crowd's going to hate me," and you dwell. But as soon as you get up there, once you hit the stage, it's like everything comes back, and you're like, "Oh, okay, I'm where I'm supposed to be." How about you, Erica? Do you, besides the food server dream, which is, if you guys never,
Which I still have.
dream. So Rob, I don't know if you guys ever worked in restaurants, but the dream basically is. You keep getting tables keep coming in and keep coming in and keep coming in, and there's always like some old lady, some old lady who wants some tea, and you have to go in the back, and your manager's standing there, and you have to like climb up to get it, and you come back, and everyone's bitching at you. So as any food server, they go through that. But Erica, besides that dream, does anything ever wake you up? Any fears at night when you're sleeping that wake you up?
Yeah, I have the same kind of dreams now, but now it's about banking and people's money. And I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, did this get paid? Or did I send the right form? Or those kind of dreams, just messing up in general, still haunt me a little bit. But like Tim said too, you really just gotta stay positive. Like having a positive attitude is really, I think, the most important thing in anything. And like Tim said too, like you can't really think about the past. You can't let the past hold you down. If you just look at the bright side of things and just know tomorrow is a different day and a clean slate, those dreams are slowly, more far and in between now. That's for sure.
Okay, the next question, I didn't write it down. I write some questions down, but I'm going to bring it up just because of the industries you're in, and I want to talk about AI for a little bit. And now I'm not a huge fan of AI just because I come from a creative background. I think, I see posts on LinkedIn and you can tell when they're AI because they're spaced the same and it's like it's the same beat, like boom, boom, boom. And I think it will take away copywriters' jobs, and which are provisions. But I want to know for your industry, and we'll start with you, Tim, because you're in technology.
Boy.
Give me a brief, you don't have to elaborate too long, but I want to know, what is your take on AI? Do you think it will help you, what you do, or is it something that you think will hinder you a little bit?
Both. I think if it's used in moderation and it's used intelligently, I think it can be a nice advantage for a lot of businesses and a lot of people. But I also think that there's a lot of damage that could be done, and it worries me to be quite honest with you. It worries me how much power will be given to AI, and how much, and like you said, jobs that could be turned over to AI, and will they be done well? I remember reading an article about one of the politicians' former somebodies that was going to court for something, and he was citing precedent, and he had AI. He had AI write this thing for him, and AI was wrong, and the court threw him out. And I'm thinking, well, that's not perfect, I mean, that was all in the news, So it's interesting, There's so much that you can do with it. Then again, there's things that people are trying to do with it, like you said. You can spot the AI posts, and you shouldn't be able to, because they have you're right, a certain beat to them. They're kind of boring, right? They have kind of a boring beat to them, and you're like, this person didn't write this, and then I don't even read it. As soon as I catch it, I don't even read it anymore, because I think you're too lazy to write it. I'm not reading it.
I always think that too. I think like you're expressing what you do and what's special about you. I'm gonna have someone else write it. It's so. So how about you, Erica? What's your take on AI?
Almost the same as Tim's. It's amazing. At the same time, it's very scary. Part of my job, we go to these conferences and conventions that are technology based, and you see these things on TV sometimes. And one of the last ones I was at had these robotic dogs walking around, and you see them on movies, and to see it in person, you're like, wow, this is creepy. Like, so it's convenient, but at the same time, and like they say, there's probably so much technology we don't even know about that's even more advanced. So to think about like what we possibly don't know, it's kind of scary. It's great. Even like social media, it's amazing. We can contact people and connect with people across the world, but it's also, ruining in-person interactions at the same time. So it's kind of like, it's bittersweet. It's amazing, and at the same time, very scary.
How about you, Rob? Because I'm sure it's pretty big in the banking world. I mean, what's it like for you and your industry?
Yeah, I mean, I think both Tim and Erica said the right things. It's good and bad. No, we actually bought a company called Level 6 a few years ago, which is it's an artificial intelligence company, because we don't want to become a defunct, obsolete industry like Bell Telephone, and think about certain industries that vanished overnight because technology replaced them. So it's very important that we stay on top of it. But we use it for a variety of things, because there's a lot of back office functions within the bank where AI makes us more efficient, and it helps us avoid manual mistakes that people make. But at the same time, we use it for positive things like prevention of fraud. So we would like to get to a point where we can use it to identify people when they walk into a store. We'll be able to know who you are just by using technology. And on the flip side, it's dangerous because there's things out there, things like called vishing and voice recognition technology, where somebody could call into the bank and say, hey, I'm Steve Cooper. It's your voice. I know you because I'm talking to you right now. I know it's your voice. And you say, hey, transfer $1 million from my checking account to this bank and wire it here. And because I think it's you, I go ahead and do it. So there's a lot of things that that is dangerous about it as well. And it's very important that as banks who's protecting people's money, that we're at the forefront of it, because the bad actors and the criminals are always 2 steps ahead of everybody else when it comes to technology. They learn how to use it to their advantage before we even know what they're going to use it for. So it's definitely a double-edged sword for sure. Okay.
Now I want to ask you, it's June. It's going to be June tomorrow. And the year is almost half over. And I'm going to start with you, Erica. What's something that you're proud of? It could be personal or business-wise that you've done in 2024. What's something that makes you proud, an accomplishment that makes you proud so far that you've had happen this year?
Well, honestly, it's probably my new job. I recently got promoted, so I'm proud of that. Considering it's a new industry that I'm still learning so much about, I've worked really hard and I've surprised myself, I guess. But honestly, just my family too. Like I've taken it. Like my mom passed away last year. Not to get Debbie Downer, but I've taken care of a lot of stuff with that, and, you know, taking care of my father and stuff like that. I'm very proud of that. So just being there for him and my family and still being able to balance work and travel and stuff. I've been really proud of the work I've been doing so far here. So I'm excited to
That's
keep
good.
going.
How about you, Rob? What's something you're proud of that's happened this year, 2024?
Well, I think the banking industry as a whole has quite a bit of challenge going on right now. You know, higher interest rates definitely doesn't help banks. People think it does, but it doesn't. And there's just a lot of headwinds that are coming at us, regulatory wise, interest rates, and it makes it harder to operate, and it makes it harder to grow our business. And you know, I'm proud of the fact that, you know, my team here in Pennsylvania, New Jersey has grown pretty much every aspect of what we're responsible for growing. It's a tough environment, but we have great people. And I think Erica said earlier, like, you know, we're in the people business, and it's about that human interaction and getting to know people's businesses and trying to make things work that work for the customer, but also work for the bank. So I'm proud of the fact that we've been able to do that in a tough environment.
Okay. How about you, Tim? What's something that's made you proud in 2024?
I'd probably echo what Rob just said. You know, the 2024 strange year. Number one, first and foremost, family. I'm super proud. My daughter just got married in October of 23, and you know, being a father is everything to me. So you know, that to me, watching my kids do their thing as they grew up, that was like the pinnacle moment when my daughter got married. It was insane. You know, I'm super proud of that, and I would say that to touch on what Rob said, my theory on the way things are in 2024 is simply this. I think that we were during COVID, it's like they put us all on a plane and we all took off together, all in one plane, and we were in the air for God knows how long, for 2 years. And then finally in 2023, the plane lands and we all get off and say, where the hell are we? And now what do we do? Right. And when 2024 finally hit, everybody had already figured out where they were. They figured out what they were going to do and figured out, okay, here's where I am and here's where I'm headed. And now everybody is very concerned about, like Rob said, they're very concerned about where they are, and I think they're worried about, I'm just going to say it, pecking order. You know, businesses and business owners and everybody that's out there competing for business. I think there's a lot of competition right now, and people are fighting for, you know, their space in the industry that they're in. And I think there's a lot of tension in the beginning of this year, and it's made it very difficult for a lot of businesses to function in a positive way and to grow in a positive way. So I'm proud of the fact that we are doing well and we're functioning well and we're functioning in a positive way in a climate that I think is kind of tenuous.
Okay. So, you know, we all go through, you know, I've met you all through networking. We meet people through our whole lives. You know, if you're out there and you're talking to people, you always meet people who make a difference. You know, it's like anything, you know, you can look at your different stages. You know, someone in comedy when I was early made a difference. And when I was in networking, when I was in corporate marketing, someone made a difference. And so, you know, we always have mentors or people that have made a difference of who we are. They've made an impact. So, Tim, we're going to start with you. Who's someone who's made an impact on you for who you are right now, or who you've grown through your business years? I mean, you know, it could be it could be if you're religious, it could be a pastor, it could be a high school teacher, it could be your wife. But who's someone who's made an impact on you, Tim?
My father, easily. My father. My father is a 35-year Teamster truck driver. He's 83 years old. He's still coming to networking events, repping Telecorp just for fun, really. And if you met my dad, you'd know it. My dad, he has that thing I don't have. When it comes to being in that crowd, he could care less. He'll talk to everyone. He's the guy that walks into Wawa and knows every person there and says, "Hey, how you doing today, sweetheart?" And it doesn't sound weird, you know. He's just that dude from Kensington, PA. from Philly. So, and he always made me hustle, man. My dad always had me doing something, and whether I was mowing lawns or detailing cars or you name it, man. That man moved. He was up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and he didn't come back till 8 o'clock at night every single day. And he just taught us how to hustle, and he said, and he said constantly, he said, kill him with kindness. Don't be an ass.
Okay.
I told, listen, well, real quick, I told somebody this story yesterday. I said, I went to, because you'll like the story, because you'll love this. I went to South Street when I was 18 years old to see Rocky Horror Picture Show, right? And I parked my car, and there was a group of us. We got a little tuned up. We went and saw it. It was great on South Street when at that time. We come out, my car's locked in a parkade. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I called my father and I said, Dad, we're in Philly, and he asked me where we were, and my dad was just like, where are you? What street? I'll be there. And that was it. He came, picked us up, dropped everybody off. We went home, and he went, see you tomorrow. That's
good.
my dad. He's
All
the
right.
coolest guy ever.
That's cool. That's good. I remember seeing Rocky Horror at the Cherry Hill Mall, and I was with my high school girlfriend, and I look, and 3 rows behind me, my parents are there. And my parents are like so old fashioned. It's like Mr. and Mrs. Cunningham. I'm like, oh my God, I want to make out with my high school girlfriend, and my parents are behind me. Rob, who's someone that has played an important role in your life?
So professionally, there's a lot of people that I've come across in either here at the bank or in the community that made a huge impact on me in one way or another. But when I really think about, like, I guess the core of who I am at this point, I'm a workaholic. So I definitely got that from my dad. He worked very hard all his life. And I think that instilled in me, whether that's good or bad, I don't know yet. But definitely he made a big impact on me. When I think about, my community engagement, I think about my grandfather. He was the mayor of Bridgeton, New Jersey. And he was super involved in charity and not-for-profit work and so forth all his life. And I think he made an impact on me that way. But probably the biggest person who made an impact on me was my mother, who my parents got divorced when I was 8, which would have been in the early set or mid 70s. And she had no job, and decided to get into the real estate development business, which at that time was a male dominated industry. It was all males. And she rose to be one of the most successful and well-known real estate developers in South Jersey and Philadelphia. She retired probably 20 years ago, and she passed away 3 years ago. But everywhere I go still, they're like, oh, you're Sandy Curley's son, because everybody knows who she was, because she became like an icon in real estate here in South Jersey. And a lot of people that are in the industry today worked with her, knew her, and she was a mentor too. So I learned a lot from her, because she went into an industry that women just didn't go into, and she crushed it, and that made a huge impact on me.
Okay. How about you, Erica?
I don't mean to sound boring, but I'm gonna go with my dad too. My dad growing up was a very hard worker, just like Tim's, was out of the house before we woke up and probably came home after we were asleep. He was a major golfer too, so that didn't help. He was golfing before work, golfing after work. But it's the same thing. And just like Rob said, my mom was the same way. I really lucked out in the parent department. Mom actually always helped dad. She was basically his secretary our whole lives. He had an at-home business. So just seeing them and how hard they worked, my dad, like growing up now as an adult, I appreciate it. As a kid, you kind of look at it as like dad's never around, but as an adult, I look at it and now I know why dad wasn't around and how hard he worked, and I appreciate it so much. And meeting you guys, like this is what I love, like meeting you guys, hearing your stories and how you became successful and who motivates you. That's what motivates me the most, is like just hearing other people's success stories. It's like, it that's the most motivating ever. And just like my dad, you know, he motivated me my whole life. And just like Tim, you know, he would bring us in the backyard and teach us how to box or throw us in the pool. And that's how I learned how to swim. You know, it was rough living in the 70s growing up, but that's how they did it. And I appreciate everything they did for me.
Okay, you know, when I was prepping for my show, I always prep in the morning. I have coffee for my show, and I this morning I put some Elvis Costello on, and I write the questions I'm going to ask, but then I write a little bullets on the side. And it's funny because this is something I was going to touch on because Rob, you've been mentioning it so much, and you know, I want to get more. I have to get more involved with my community. Okay, I have to. I mean, my wife gets involved. My wife volunteers and all this stuff. I don't do it enough. And I know you guys are all into it. And Rob, you've mentioned a few times. Why is community so important to you?
Well, honestly, when I first got involved with it, I worked with a guy named Jack Tarditi, who some of you may know, 16-year mayor of Haddonfield. He was also worked here at the bank and was the co-chairman of Commerce Insurance, super involved in the community to this day. I think he's 80 in his early 80s and still very involved. So he said, you know, you want to be successful, you got to get involved in the community. So originally I did it selfishly because I knew I would be sitting at tables with people that I would never meet on my own. You know, sitting at tables with people like, you know, CEO of Virtua, Cooper, you know, Kennedy Health System, people that I wanted to be clients. So I did it selfishly to be at that table because I knew I could never just walk up to them and make a relationship. So, but then over time, I realized I was actually having fun doing it. And it was energizing to feel like I was making a difference and impact with some of these nonprofits and helping people, you know, LMI families and people with, you know, I have 2 kids with type 1 diabetes. So I got heavily involved with JDRF. I started to actually enjoy it. And now it's almost like a hobby. You know, there's benefits that come out of it, but more importantly, the benefits that I enjoy are how it makes me feel good about myself and making a difference in people's lives.
Okay, how about you, Erica?
Well, honestly, I feel like it's almost like your community's your friends, you know, you are who you hang out with. So you want your community to be better, you know? So I think, like Rob said, getting out in the community and meeting those people and just helping and doing things. And, you know, I think that also makes yourself better, you know, putting yourself out there, doing what you can for your community, because you're really just making pretty much your own home better. So I think that's very important.
Yeah, and now Tim, I know because I know I just did your I did the walk. I wasn't going to do the 5K. I said how with that, and I took a few bananas home. You said get rid of they had all these bananas.
There you go.
And I was like, oh, I like a smaller banana to juice with. And I came in with these big ass bananas. But I know you're really involved. So what is it why is it so important? Because you sponsor so much stuff, and I see you're always out and about doing stuff. But what makes community so important to you?
I don't think there's I don't think life is that great, is that good without community. You know, I mean, I think that, you know, what we give to everyone else is what we're going to get back out of your life. You know, there's givers and takers, right? I want to be a giver. I want to be somebody who is able to help other people. I want to be, at the end of the day, when I lay my head on the pillow, I want to be able to think to myself, I helped somebody today, and or this month or this year, or I'm going to do it this next year coming up, whatever. You know, it hit me the same way it hit Rob. At first, you start doing some things and thinking, well, I'm doing this because I should do it. And then when something happens, I'll tell you, here's the greatest story. Quick. I worked with Steve Harbaugh when he was doing George's house. And we were collecting toys, and we took all these toys over with Bob Kelly over to St. Christopher's Hospital. And I was dressed up as Cousin Eddie, because y'all know I played Cousin Eddie for Steve. And, you know, there's a guy in the lobby, and he says, hey, could you talk to my kid? And I didn't realize at first that his son was actually in the hospital, and he holds the phone up, and then I see the kid in the bed, and I just started to fill up. Like it's everything I could to just like, don't cry. Right. It's just, this is crazy. But it was the moment like that, you know, and of course I did it, but it's the moments like that they impact you and you think, wow, this is crazy. You can really make a difference in people's lives. And by doing something as silly as just helping out with that charity to begin with and dressing up as Cousin Eddie, which is idiotic, and crazy, but it was fun. And people came from all over the country. And I used to ask people when I was standing in front of his house, in the robe and the stupid hat, like, where'd you come from? Somebody said, Canada. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, did you just, it's crazy. But that was the moment that I realized how important it was. And, and then I started to figure out a way to do it myself.
Okay. Well, yeah, I know you're involved.
And just to add, can I add one thing to that?
Yeah, sure. Take it
Like
away.
I also think we're all very lucky to be where we are in life, and we got to remember there's a lot of other people who aren't, and whatever we can do to help those other people, I think is just makes our communities better overall.
That's
Amen.
true. That's true. So, we all know each other through networking, and I want to. I've never asked this question, but I want to find out what's an interesting fact that people don't know about you. Like me, see these hands? I was a hand model on NCIS, the biggest show in the world, and on Westworld. I was on the Ellen Show twice. I played Huey Lewis News' one of his band members once. So that's something people really don't know about me. That I was a hand model. I was George Costanza. I was a hand model.
To say it.
Yeah, I was. But what's something that people, besides you being a drummer and being Cousin Eddie, what's something that people don't know about you that you find very interesting, Tim?
Oh my God. I'm not quite sure what the answer to that is. Listen, I put so much out there already that everybody knows probably almost everything about me. I think people don't know that, I actually, I have social anxiety. I have big social anxiety, which we talked a little bit about in the beginning. So I think that's something that not everybody knows about me that I think is important for people to know, because I think when folks go out to network and they go out to meet other people or whatever they're doing, people are worried about it because they think, there's a stigma to it. And there's a hard feeling when you go out to meet other people. So it's a tough thing that people battle. So my that's something a lot of people don't know about me, but I hope that, just knowing that and realizing that you can still be successful even when you have that issue, because it's a real pain in the butt, when you're trying to run around and meet people.
Okay. Well, how about you, Rob? We want to hear something that we want to see it on the front page of the TD Bank. Hey, Rob Curley can juggle plates on a unicycle. Holy shit, he can juggle plates. Now, what's something about you that's an interesting fact that people don't know, and they should, because like Tim, what you're doing that's very helpful, because a lot of people do suffer from that, and so when you share that, it makes an impact. But what's something that, Rob, that people don't know about you that you find as an interesting fact?
Probably my early career aspirations. When I was in elementary school, I read a report about I wanted to be a garbage man, because I thought it was really cool when they would drive by my house hanging on the back of the truck, and that's what I wanted to do. I told my parents that's what I want to do. Whatever I got to do to get there, I'm going to do it. And that was my first career goal. But then I became a drummer, which is interesting that Tim was. I didn't know that, but I was a drummer in a rock band in high school called Volume. And in 1986, when I graduated high school, I had to make the tough decision of going to LA with my friends to try to make it big as a hair band. Because I like to compare mullets with Tim someday, because I had a great mullet back then.
I'll get mine. Hold on.
I had to make that choice of, do I go to LA with them and try to make it big, or do I go to college? And thankfully, my dad helped me make that decision. We can't say it.
We can't say it.
Can't say it. It's picture. Sorry. I had it.
You have to text me a picture of it.
It's funny, Rob. I wanted to go to LA too. I was ready to go at about 19 years old.
The hell with you. I did. Well, so come on, get some balls. No. And I hope neither of you guys ever had a tail. I would lose all respect. Mullet fight, if you ever had a tail. So
No
anyway,
tail.
So Erica, what's a fact about you that is interesting that people don't know?
Well, I mean, I feel like we should get a band together, because I used to play the piano. And mullets are back in. I'm just saying, mullets are back in.
They're coming back.
Yeah, my hair is
Everything comes
gone.
back.
It's done. Yeah, it's over.
We'll get you a wig. We'll get you a wig. But same as Tim too, and I'm not embarrassed to talk about it. I have major anxiety, which is also crazy because we're very extrovert. So it's like it's part of that bittersweet. But it gets to the point where sometimes in large crowds, I'll have a panic attack. Like I need to be against a wall or I need to get out of there. Like I'll pass out. Like it gets that bad. So that's definitely something people don't realize about me because I am so social that like it also cripples me sometimes. But it's really just forcing yourself to keep doing it and get back out there. So I try not to let it bother me. And I think I realize that like a lot of people do have it and just don't talk about it. So I feel like it's normal, you know? And talking about things like that are vulnerable, I think are a way to move through them and stuff like that and get over them and get over that hump and go to the next event anyway and stuff like that. So is that the picture?
There it is.
I'll tell you something. I have my old
There it
headshot.
is. I'm the guy in the middle, Steve.
I can tell
That's
that. You know,
hilarious.
I have my old headshot, and I tell people they say I don't know if you know Mike Trainer from Coffee News, but he says remember that mullet? And what it was, I gelled my hair, so it wasn't a mullet. It came and hung down like this, but then I gel it, so it came up. So it was like the Dave
Looked
Cool.
like a
It was a
That
Dave
was just
Coulier.
weird.
I
don't even know what that was.
It was like the Uncle Jesse and Dave Coulier from Full House. It was that hair, and it wasn't a mullet.
Oh,
and
yeah,
to this day, I will argue. I'll argue till 4 in the morning that wasn't a mullet. Anyway, enough with the mullets.
That's hilarious.
We're going to you,
Uncle
Rob.
Jesse. You're Uncle Jesse from now on.
Yeah, I wish I was as good looking as John Stamos. Seriously, he's handsome. Rob, at this point in your life, what is success to you?
At this point in my life, success to me is getting my 2 children and my 2 stepchildren into a good place where they can have their own lives and get off my payroll. That's what I really want, if you want to know the truth. But they're all great kids, and they range from 28 to 23. And I think it's difficult right now for young people to get a life and own a home and buy a car and all those things. So what success for me would be is all 4 of them to be on their own and happy and having successful lives of their own.
Okay. How about you, Erica? What's success?
I would honestly say like success is just finding what makes you happy, tell you the truth. Like even as much as I work hard and stuff, I learned at a very young age that money doesn't make you happy. So you can have all the money in the world, and unless you find your thing, you're never going to be happy anyway. So to live a life where I have friends and family and I wake up every day, that alone is a blessing. To be able to go to a job and have a house and a car and a roof over my head, like those kind of things are what is success to me.
Okay. How about you, Tim? What's success to you at this point in your life?
I would almost say the exact same thing that Erica just did. I mean, kids, amen. I'm right there with Rob. My 2 daughters, knowing that they're good to go. They both got both through college. One of them's married now. The other one's out now. They're both out, actually, to Rob's point. And, I think I talked to Rob about this before. It's like 2 big check boxes. Like, nothing could make you more happy, as a father, to see that happen and see them happy. But yeah, and also just having your sphere, your world that you live in, like you said, happiness is a state of mind. So, just feeling that feeling of kind of safe, and you're comfortable. And Rob said, we're really lucky. We are lucky to be in the positions that we're in and to be comfortable like this and to be able to keep moving. Some people don't have the ability to even move. So I'm grateful every single day that I can even get out of bed and do it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because as he said, he's 56, I'm 55. I get it. We're getting up there a little bit.
I'm older than both of you, so shut up, you young whippersnappers. I always like asking this question because I like the answers, because I don't read business books. Okay, I have no interest. I have no interest at all, and I don't. And I mean, I did read The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell, which was a great book, but I'd rather read, something about Frank Sinatra or about, like the hair metal scene in LA in the 80s, or my friend Richard Blade, who's a DJ in LA. His books are amazing. His stories about how he came from England and just broke all these bands. What is a book, one or two, that it's made an impact on you? We asked the person that made an impact, but what's a book? And we'll start with you, Tim, because I know I'm pretty sure you're a big business reader guy, because you're very motivational and you're very into that. But what's a book? You can give me one or two that has made an impact or difference in your life.
So as part of 75 Hard, which I've done now 5 times, which is nuts. My wife thinks I'm crazy, but you have to read, and you have to read, basically a self-help book, So I think the number one book is one of the first ones I read is a book by Tim Grover. It's called Winning. And Tim was the personal coach for Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. And he just talks about the fact that, as good as they were, they still needed help. They still needed more coaching, and as good as we are at what we do, you still need help. You need a mentor. You need someone to keep pushing you and making you want to grind every day. So that one, and I'm reading one right now called Extreme Ownership, and I forget the author's names, but there's two guys. One of the name's Jocko. They're Navy SEALs, and they just talk about being great leaders and what it takes to be a great leader. And the number one thing is that no matter what happens, when anything goes wrong in your organization, whose fault is it, Rob?
The leaders.
That's damn right. It's your fault. Rob is the president of his region, of the whole region. If something goes wrong in that region and then something's not right, if Rob takes responsibility for everything that went wrong, then Rob will not only gain the respect of everybody that works for him, and it may not have been directly his fault, but somehow indirectly something was missing, or you know what I mean? And it teaches you. It's an amazing book. I'm like 2/3 of the way through. It's driving me nuts because they relate it to real stories that they've been through in Iraq. These guys that are SEALs, and it's just like, wow, it's just blowing my mind.
Okay, how about you, Erica? Are you a business book reader?
I tried to, especially when I first started this. I was getting like technology books and learning about technology and stuff. But one of the books that years ago, when I first became a general manager at one of the restaurants I was at, my boss gave me a book, and don't kill me if I get this wrong, but I think it was called 1 Minute Manager. And it really taught me how to delegate, which I'm really bad at as a manager. I feel I always did things because I would do them right, and I wasn't good at delegating and letting people do their jobs. So that really taught me how to like give people the duties, let them do them, you know what I mean? So that really helped me with even now time management and stuff like that. So that's probably one of the biggest business books that stuck with me that I've read in the past. So
Okay.
I would recommend that.
Okay, how about you, Rob?
So I'd be lying if I said I read books. But I do listen to books on Audible because I'm either working in my car or sleeping, so it's hard for me to actually sit down and read a book. But I'm in my car a lot, driving all over Pennsylvania, New Jersey. So I listen to Audible, and Tim said a book I actually am listening to right now, Extreme Ownership. It's an awesome book. I'm very into the military and patriotic and all that stuff, and to hear these Navy SEAL stories of leadership is great. But another book I really enjoyed, because it's part of what I talk about all the time, is it's called Start With Why, by Simon.
Sinek.
Simon's last name, Sinek. Because I'm a big believer that in my business or any business, if you have people working for you that are talking to customers or doing anything, if you don't tell them why we do the things we do, or or why processes have to be the way they are, or why our product is better than the next product, if we don't explain all those things about why we do the things we do, you're not going to have a successful business. But then full transparency, what I really like is like revolutionary war era books, because it really gives me appreciation for the fact that we even have a country. Because when you read some of these stories about the Revolutionary War and how close we were to not having a country, it really kind of puts everything into perspective how great the U.S. is.
Okay.
So I love those kind of books.
Okay. Well, here's the final question of the day. You guys have all been great. And if someone comes up to you, they can be getting out of trade school. It can be your daughter. It can be a friend of yours, a friend of your kid, or someone who's just like changing careers. And they ask you for advice on, how do we do this, man? How do you figure stuff out? How do you live life? How do you, attain your goals? Erica, what would the advice you would give them?
Just do it. You're not going to learn until you put yourself out there and start the process. And just knowing you're probably going to mess up, you know what I mean? You're going to make mistakes. And I think that's where you learn the most is, making those mistakes and learning to not do those things. And that's part of the whole process,
Okay. How about you, Rob? What's the advice you would give?
I mean, I like what Erica said about just do it, but my favorite phrase is something that somebody said to me 30 years ago. It's know what you don't know. And I kind of hang on to that. And I tell people all the time, don't be a know-it-all, take the time to learn new things. Don't get content in your career or your job. Always try to push yourself to outwork everybody else. And you don't have to be the smartest guy in the room, but if you outwork other people, you'll be more successful. So I always tell people, know what you don't know and just outwork everybody else.
How about you, Tim?
I'm right there with Rob. I think if you feel like you're the smartest guy in the room, find a new room, because
yeah.
that's how it works, right? And to what Erica said, I say it all the time. I hashtag it all the time. Start now. Start now. If you have an idea and you're young and you're brazen and you're ready to go and you feel good about what you want to do, don't just do it for a buck.
Mm-hmm.
Do it because it's a great idea and because you think it's going to fill you up. It's going to fill up the people around you, and you're going to prosper. Your whole sphere is going to prosper, because I think if the people around you, coming back inward, if you don't do it that way, if you don't do something for the as a whole to make you happy and to make the people around you happy, so you're all prosperous, then you're not going to be happy, because like Erica said, you can't buy love, man.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't buy happiness. So, I think that, you got to start now. You got to make the mistakes and be okay with making mistakes, and know that mistake is one less thing you got to worry about in the future. You're going to be that much smarter the next time you do that same thing. So start now.
All right. Well, this was great. I thank you for coming on. Erica, how can people get in touch with you and find out about your business?
Well, I am on LinkedIn, and you can always email me. I think all my information's in that profile there. But even our website, everything's on there. You can reach out to me, call me, email me, whatever you need, and I'll help you.
Okay. How about you, Rob?
I would probably email me at robert.curley, CURLEY at TD.com, because I'm a very poor user of LinkedIn, because it becomes overwhelming to me with all the information and messages I get. So my email is robert.curley at TD.com.
How about you, Tim? How can they get in touch with you?
It's hard to find me, isn't it, Steve? I think I would say LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. You'll find me all over social media. So
and go search for Tim's show, Walking and Talking with Tim. I actually wore this shirt to the gym this morning. I wear this shirt a lot. I did. I wore it to the gym. I go between yours and Linda Milano's shirt. I wear it to the gym. And so people, you can find me. You can email me at thecooptank@yahoo.com. Go to YouTube, search the Coop Tank, watch past shows. You get a lot of good information. And, like it and subscribe. Also, June 13th and June 27th, Speakeasy Stand-Up, the show I host. It's at the Soundsplex Studios over there in Merchantville, Pennsauken border. It's the hippest, newest, cool venue around. I'll be doing a paid networking event there soon. Go check the show out, 13th and 27th. 2 double headliner shows in May, so it's a killer show. And those shows start at 7:30. You can email me for more tickets. And don't forget, if you're recording a podcast, we can go here. Listen to my other podcast, Cooper Talk. I've done 1,009 episodes. It's all entertainers, coopertalk.net. And if you're going to start a podcast, you want to find more information about video production, reach out to Joe Gangemi and Rich DeSisto at Suite Recording. You can check them out at SuiteRecording.com. That's SUITE recording.com, or email them at hello@SuiteRecording.com. I want to thank you all for watching or listening. I'm Steve Cooper, and you have a great weekend.